Have you ever stopped at a tech plant, looked up in awe at the majestic cannon on the inner second floor, and thought, damn, would I like to control that? Well, good news, now you can, albeit in a slightly smaller version with a few visual tweaks to match the animation, and sure it isn't live yet and is only on the public test server, but it is oh so close. Strap into your artillery chair as I go over some of the items currently on the public test server, and also some changes that have sneakily hit live. This is the Glaive IPC, Ionized particle cannon if you were wondering. It's probably the most majestic piece in the construction set currently. Please note everything you see is a work in progress, and at the moment there isn't a faction colouring which has been teased by the devs. Also, since videos showing the ion cannon off by VIBJoshino developer, the animations seem to have broken. The cannon currently looks like something out of a derpy physics game. How does it fit in exactly? Well, the idea is it can be used to disrupt opposing enemy bases. There is splash damage and it does damage infantry, but at the moment at least you can move away from the volley if you get hit. The projectiles seem to have a spread, so it's probably unlikely you're going to get hit by 3 shots directly anyway. And there is damage to buildings, but not enough to destroy anything before a well-organised group could repair and defend it. It can also do some damage to enemy vehicles. You can only have one deployed every 100 meters, which I think is the case currently, or it might be further, but at least you can only have one pretty much in every base. So you can't spam them. Although just note that Shackle was spawning them in on this video, and it wasn't the way they were built by the ants, so that was just spawned in by console commands basically. Its main target though is the shield module, which it eats through rather quickly. Also, when modules are hit below the shield, they will be disabled by the ion blast. It has quite a cool crackling animation that you can see on an anti-infantry turret in live when it is EMP'd, but slightly on a larger radius. It will basically wipe out the shields on the walls and other defensive structures. To start aerial bombardment, you grab the dart tool from your ion cannon which you have deployed. You then shoot the dart at the area you want to bombard. It has to be at least 100 meters from the cannon, and whilst the dart can go far, it has a lot of drop right now. For accuracy, you might have to sneak and drop it down. It can stick to buildings or hover where another object is, like the infiltrated dart currently. Also, the dart can be destroyed by the enemy if they find it, so placement is important. The dart can't be put into no build zones, so you can't spam normal base fights. This paired with its destructibility is the current hard counter to stop it being too overpowered. This is pretty much the ion cannon as it is on the test server as of the 10th of August. Like a lot of things, it probably needs to see live before we can assess how it affects fights and base interaction, and there may be occasions where tank zergs are disrupted by it if they're in an open field, but the no deploy zones are fairly large. So for the most part they'll be used in base versus base fights, partly as a sieging tool but also as a disruption for enemy tank zergs. Shackle also started spawning hundreds in the same spot and created the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones with ion cannons, or at least I thought it looked like that anyway. We've got some other items that I've only really touched on in my big monthly update videos, but there's the Elysium spawn tubes, which currently hasn't got its full functionality I don't think. I was unable to directly spawn on it, but players could instant action onto it. But this is the thing that is going to make the player bases more of a permanent fixture, with allowing allies to spawn into the bases directly without a sunderer. We also had the aircraft pad to spawn aircraft, which one of the testers pointed out is that if you landed on it and fall off, you've lost your aircraft. Unless you're a light of sword of course, but it could be fixed. We also have the vehicle pad for lightnings, harassers, sundies and flashers. And the thing that's most important here is that currently these are the only construction items that can be hacked by an infiltrator. Like in regular non-player made bases, there may become a meta of hacking these to pull armor close to the base if kept this way. Also worth mentioning is the ammo resupply for vehicles, which is just like the ammo tower on the ground but a smaller version. There's also a pillbox style tower, which is not too interesting, it's just another defensive building that's probably better at taking off infantry that are close to the base. Outside of the construction affair, we have had some sad news with the Rocklet Rifle, the light assault utility item, being temporarily taken out of the test server. Apparently it wasn't where the developers would like it, and honestly it was a little odd with its mini flat cannon. However, with my Rocklet video having 50,000 views at the moment, it definitely was quite hyped in the scheme of the Planetside 2 community. Let's just hope it pops up sooner rather than later in the future. If you are a little out of the loop and this is the first you're seeing of Planetside 2 in a while, you might want to check out my new player buff video, which outlines all of the new player experience tweaks that are currently on the PTS. There's a lot of changes to the classes as well and some abilities. Finally, on live, a patch was pushed again to try and improve frames per second on PC, and the wide feedback has been people seeing some sizable performance boosts. Currently on my rig on Ultra, I'm getting around 200 frames in the warp gate, 120 to 80 in dogfights, and 60 plus FPS in 48 versus 48 fights, and only dropping to around 40s when I'm in 96 plus versus 96 plus fights, which often have 100 people in one building. Either way, I've had an increase, and how are you all finding it at the moment, or did you not notice? Anyway, that's the lot from the test server that I hadn't covered in depth, and I'm sure there'll be more soon. If you want to see things before they hit the test server, you might want to check out VIBJoshino's channel. He's one of the developers, and he put out videos before. Also, Shackle is not a developer, but plays around a lot with the public test server stuff, so it might be worth checking out. I did put out a meetup on Twitter, and a few people came, but only a handful. But if you want to get involved when I do some sort of playtest or something to get footage, then follow me on Twitter, because that's where I'm going to post it, because it's just easiest to post just basically the times. I said basically PTS in an hour or so, and then everyone who did jump on, they came and played. So if you thought the video was positively ionized, give it a like. If you thought it was buggy as the ion cannon animation currently, give it a dislike. Subscribe for more Planetside 2 content. Thank you all very much for watching, everybody. Until next time, Joshino.